ready for a change?
I am talking to you.
Then get ready to explore the quantum possibilities. It's time to transform that outdated paradigm into something universal and new. Time to uncover the truth hidden beneath the veil of lies. A time to think outside the box as we link to a higher consciousness. Welcome to the awakening. And now the hosts of Broadcast Team Alpha, Nori Love and Augie Nost.
Hello everybody, how are you? Oh my goodness, it's another Tuesday night, a week has gone by and we missed you. Well, I'm just checking up to see if that's true because I don't want to say words that are not true. And speaking of words, did your parents ever tell you that, like, what's the magic words? Right? My parents would always do that, especially when I really wanted something. They'd be like, what's the magic words? And they told me that the magic words were please and thank you. But we're going to talk about some other, did you hear that? What just happened to me? We're going to talk about some other words tonight that really, really are the magic words. And they're actually an ancient healing system. They're a prayer for forgiveness. And it can be a simple meditation for surrendering to what is. And this, we can create inner peace. We can create a lot of things, including healing with these words. And who might not need inner peace at this moment, right? Before Augie tells us about our beautiful guest, I just want to invite you to connect with us. You can connect with us on broadcastteamalpha.com. And of course, we have a YouTube station before we got on the amazing WKCOR. You can see some of our really great interviews there. You can find Augie on the Universal Consciousness -show. And you can find me at Everything Conscious, or you can email me as a healer and a Reiki master. I am taking emails at norilovemail@gmail.com, norilovemail@gmail.com. So with the housekeeping out of the way, hi Augie, how are you?
Well, I am wonderful. I don't know any other way to. Yeah, don't know any other way to do it. So that's it. And yes, we have a pearl for a guest today or tonight, tomorrow, depends on where you are around the world. Today we are going to hear an incredible story.
Augie, wait. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Carry on.
Okay.
Thank you. I just had to say that. Those are the magic words. But
very appropriate. We're going to hear more about those words, those magic words in just a little bit. Yeah, and hang on to those words because they're going to come up. And I'm going to repeat myself. Today we are going to hear an incredible story how one man, a healer, can cure a whole insane asylum full of criminally insane inmates, all by himself, without even consulting them or seeing them or even talking to them. And yes, it is a very well documented case, and it actually did happen. And our guest tonight will tell us the rest of the story, how this was possible and how it is possible today. And our guest is Sheri Magdaleno.
Hello.
And
hi.
Hey, yeah, and she will tell us this story. And she is also a healer, a practitioner of this kind of old Hawaiian healing method called HoOponopono. She's also a clairvoyant, a clairsentient, a clairaudient, and also she teaches meditation. So she's wearing a lot of different hats. And she's having the time of her life right now after she walked away from a nursing career to become what she feels she really came here to Earth to do. So welcome to the show, Sheri.
Why, thank you.
Welcome,
Very honored.
Sheri.
Hello.
Fellow nurse. Hello.
Hello.
And
Yeah,
healer. And healer. Yeah, awesome.
Yes.
I'm so
And,
excited to talk with you. Can I I actually did not know Sheri was a healer. I mean, a nurse. I know she's a healer. How did this start for you, Sheri? I know there's a lot of cool stuff we're going to talk about, but how did this begin for you? And, I always, I still have my finger on the pulse of what's going on with the medical people. So I'd love to hear, how you chose to walk away from the mainstream Western medicine.
Well, I think that a huge percentage of us choose those professions because we're drawn to be healers.
Yeah.
And we, in our deepest soul memory, know that we've been destroyed for what we really are. And so we become scared. And because of the old paradigms, you need this piece of paper to prove your worthiness, and you have to do things to prove your worthiness. So we perpetuate those lies by becoming part of a profession that is healer, but still playing so very small in those roles. And so I was always looking for my niche in nursing, and it just didn't work. But the closest I came was as a case manager for an integrative clinic. And that's when I actually left Western medicine and became a functional medicine practitioner. So still perpetuating the lie, but very slyly using my gifts in my practice because I was seeing my own patients, but still perpetuating the lie. And it actually took a smackdown from the universe for me to leave medicine. And it was scary. It was like being in free fall. But a new owner had taken over the clinic, and she didn't have the same vision as the prior owner. And I knew that I had outgrown that space. And I had someone show up at my private home asking me to heal a baby. Wow. And so the universe brought experiences to me to say, you can no longer hide. This is who you are. And it felt more aligned than anything I had ever done. And so that's what I did. I honored myself.
It's so interesting though, because did you have a glimmer of thinking, I don't think I really want to do this anymore. This isn't working for me, and not listen? Because the universe has, a very interesting way of getting our attention. I was extracted
as whispers.
Yeah, but I was extracted from nursing abruptly as well. So I was curious, but I want to go back to something that you said, and the people in the chat room and the listeners, totally. We're preaching to the choir. They're the most amazing people. So when you said perpetuating the lie, referring to Western medicine, can you just explain a little bit
of a role, putting yourself in small roles when you're really something else. And that's what beautiful. We fear is usually our magnificence, not portraying the role anymore.
Right.
So yes, it always comes as whispers, like, this just doesn't feel right. Like I said, always looking for my niche. There's got to be a better part of this. So let me work labor and delivery. Let me work NICU. Let me work home care. Always looking for something better. Definitely. And like I said, as a case manager, it felt more right. But the clinic owner knew that I was psychic because she was. And she actually called me out. She said, a whole lot more than what you share, don't you? And yeah, I did. And she said, boy, I wish that we could market that and not sound crazy. So, still perpetuating the lie, right?
I gotcha. Yep.
But I was getting those whispers and little nudges like, do it. And always, closest people to me always knew. So my friends and of course my children, and I always would help them. But the woman that showed up at my private home with the baby, by the time we figured out who exactly she was, it was 5 people removed from an actual friend. And so that was very unnerving for me.
Is that a story you can tell us, or should we?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I was just sitting here one night and there was a ring at my doorbell. It's in my private home. And there was a woman holding a crying baby. And she said that she had spent hours in the ER and they didn't know what was wrong with her baby, but she had heard from her friend that I could help. So I invited her in, and I did help him. What I was feeling was a lot of emotional distress in the baby being passed back and forth between his mother and father, who were very young parents. And he had a lot of lung congestion. So I did some energy work on him and cleared his lungs. And
beautiful.
So afterwards, I just said kind of like, who sent you?
Really? Were you,
said,
okay, so you didn't know these people were coming?
No.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And so that's
boy.
what I said. I was so unnerved by that. Like I felt very exposed.
Okay,
and,
but did to some degree, did you feel like, oh my God, this is real? I am really what I am. Yeah.
Well, yes. And then, can I really do this? Like, I've been doing this for the people closest to me, but this is a complete stranger who's asking me to do it on command. Like,
on a baby.
Yes, can I do this on command? And so I did, thank God. But it was just, when she left, I called a very close friend of mine who actually was working as a psychic. So professionally, that's what he does for a living. And so we were talking, and he says, I can't believe you. He goes, really? Like, what's your title? And so I started saying my fancy schmancy title, functional medicine. He goes, no. He's like, no one's Googling that. You know what they're Googling? They're Googling psychic healer. And that's exactly what you are. And he said, and where is Somerton, Arizona? Like, nobody can find you. And so he kind of ripped into me, made me change it on my social media, and I braced myself because I really was scared. I was afraid that putting that was going to discredit my education.
Understood.
And but then it became okay, and people didn't say, yeah, right, all of a sudden, like I thought was going to happen, and I embraced it. And I just asked the universe, please, if this is right, show me. And I put in my 2 weeks notice at the clinic.
Wow.
And I asked the universe to give me at least one client a day, and that I would be okay to take care of my kids. I was a single mom. And I was given twice that. So, and all of the people who ask me even now are all word of mouth. So I'm very blessed. I am so very blessed.
What I love your story. I love the way it worked out for you. And it's so interesting. How long ago did you make the switch?
2016.
Oh, okay. So you've been doing this, but do you kind of feel like you're right on time right now? Like with everything that's going on? Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
And the longer I honor it, the more effortless my human experience becomes.
That's beautiful. And when you work with energy, that happens, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Wow. This is a phenomenal story. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that because we haven't talked about this one. And the thing about it is that the universe have a way to provide, once we tap into the right frequency or the right place in our mind, things happen.
Oh,
sometimes come in roundabout ways. They come through just about anybody, friends, relatives, people we have no clue are out there, but they just show up, like you said, on your doorstep.
Yes.
And so I just want to use this. This is the best example ever. I'm going to use it in my next class. So Sheri, in law of attraction, and I'm probably preaching to the choir again, we decide what we desire, we get clear on it, we launch an intention, and I see you guys rolling your eyes with me talking about law of attraction, but it's okay. But it's one of the key principles that makes it so easy and makes law of attraction happen is releasing attachment to the outcome. Because if we try to figure out how it's going to come, where it's going to come from, we're actually going to sabotage ourselves or not be at the door when the person shows up with the baby, right?
Right. Well, you're absolutely right. It's all about surrender.
Surrender. I love
So
that.
we are attracting what we are. And so you have to vibrate at the level that you yourself are supposed to be.
Right.
If you're playing small, you're going to receive small.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you move to Florida and be my neighbor? I would love to talk to you every day, please.
I hear it's humid in Florida.
It is, yeah. If you have curly hair, you're done. So
I have straight hair, so it wouldn't matter. But
okay, good.
I'm thinking of that very undesirable word, moist. That
Yes, it is. So, well, Augie, I know you have some of the nuts and bolts questions, right?
Oh yeah, I got all kinds of nuts and bolts, and I think that
I know.
I think that when I talked to Sheri before, just right before the show here, and we decided that we were just gonna start talking and
Cool.
let it go where it ends up. But there is
Wonderful.
one story that I definitely want you to talk about, Sheri, and that is that man that cured the people in the criminally insane in the asylum, because it is such a phenomenal story, and it did happen. And this is what can happen when healers of many different types do the right thing. They can tap in, and these things can happen. Could you talk to this a little bit, Sheri?
Absolutely. So you're referring to the story of, and I hope I don't butcher his name, I'm going to say it slow. Ihaleakala Hulan.
Wow.
So it's a beautiful, beautiful name. I wanted to honor him by saying his real name, but we'll call him Dr. Len for the rest of the show.
Yeah, Hulan.
He said something very poignant in training. And when he said that, it resonated with me better than anything. And I think it's the whole meaning of the practice summed up in a statement. He said he was simply healing the part of himself that created them.
Wow.
And so basically the whole practice of HoOponopono is being 100% responsible for anything that shows up in your reality. If it shows up in your reality, you've got it. Exactly. And so when he was asked to be a practitioner at this particular hospital, not only were the people in shambles, but even the employees, the turnover was so quick because none of the employees were staying, and the building was literally falling apart physically. And so he describes, coming into this place where the paint was peeling off the wall, the employees were just in horrific shape. They were leaving, they weren't staying, and none of the patients were getting well, and they were overcrowded. And of course, instead of being overwhelmed, he went into his office and he said, "Bring me all their files."
Wow.
And so he started one after the other, reading their case files and then going very deeply into himself, the deepest levels of his consciousness, to heal that part of him that existed that manifested them in the first place. And so amazingly, not only did the people heal one after the other, but the building was repaired, repainted, employees started staying, plants started turning green again. So the entire building and its employees, everything just became a very different experience because he was healing those things that were in him. And so it goes far beyond just the patients. I mean, that story is phenomenal, and you can find that through Google, I'm sure, in about 100 different versions. But that, I think, is the most poignant thing to mention, because when you become that conscious and return to the zero state and really become zero, is what the HoOponopono practice is all about. There's no such thing as even an inanimate object. So that I love you doesn't just go for the people that are showing up in your experience, but like, I'm sitting on my bed right now and I love you to my bed, and I love you to the paper that's in front of me, and everything that's in my experience, so that all of that energy vibrates where I'm at. And I love the practice of that.
I love that. And I hope I'm going to try and say this, because this is something I'm just formulating. You know, we all hear that we're a little piece of God, or we are God. Even the Bible says, right, God is in us. If we are really, really, really that, then being responsible to heal that which is not wrong, that which needs healing in other people, it only makes sense that we would do that. I mean, it's almost like we want to take that fact that we are, we are little bits of the Creator creating on the planet, but I only want to create what I want to create, instead of realizing that we actually have the responsibility to do what Hugh Lin did.
Right, but he had the understanding, and also myself, that there is only one. There's nothing outside of you.
Exactly.
So you're not healing anyone else. You're healing yourself.
That exactly. And I'm going to be able to say this better, because this is so delightful. We have 2 minutes to the break, but you are opening new, like pathways in my brain right now with this. So that's why I can't quite, put words to this, but
what an honor for a healer to say that to another healer. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to be your neighbor in Arizona.
Yes, it's drier here. Though I will miss the surf, so maybe we can keep both homes.
Okay, we'll be bi-coastal. That's so much fun. Oh my goodness. So, and we only have about a minute to the break, but where was Hugh Lin again, please?
In Hawaii.
Hawaii. This is all Hawaii that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's the ancient Hawaiian practice. It's an indigenous practice to the islands. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and in fact, this is a very old healing method that was almost on the brink of being lost. And I think after the break, let's come back and talk a little bit about that. It's kind of almost a fluke that it got saved, because there was another lady that saved it, and she somehow was working with. Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Kahuna Morna. Yeah, let's talk about
that.
Awesome.
So we'll be back right after the break with Sheri Magdaleno.
This is the Broadcast Team Alpha Show, hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. The one show that takes your doubts of the unknown and spins them into reality. Share your thoughts by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Call now. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More cutting-edge conversation and exploration of the quantum universe after this.
Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific. Jump onto the Celestial Highway and travel at the speed of light. Into hyperspace. Hyperspace. Hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. She navigates you through the cosmic tides of mysticism into the world of covert technology, UFOs, mystical sciences, and the world of unforeseen forces.
You get to really sort of enjoy a bizarre ride.
Listen live, Friday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, for Hyperspace, the one show that blows the whistle off our government black ops projects. Hyperspace, hosted by Solaris Blue Raven. Solaris Blue Raven, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Wanna take a ride? Take a ride. Take a ride.
Great. It's great. I think it's great.
The all-new KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Great.
Make a note of it.
It's great.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone?
Do flowers have best friends?
I don't know. Hey, look.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
Looking for a radio show like no other?
We need something brand new.
Then tune into the KCOR Digital Radio Network, Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and get ready for The Quantum Shift. A great shift of consciousness is sweeping across the Earth. Are you ready for the dimensional shift?
It is amazing, is it not?
The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Hosted by Dr. Sam Muggsy and Kent Dunn. Be part of the fifth dimensional reality, where consciousness prevails and the universal law of one is the only true reality. The Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Quantum Shift. Live Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Going live.
Come explore the quantum possibilities. This is Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
To be on the show live, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. Share your thoughts of the show on Twitter at KCOR Radio, #KCOR. Or join the cutting edge conversation live in our chat room at KCORradio.com. Now back to Broadcast Team Alpha with your free thinking hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nast.
And yay, we're back. And speaking of the chat room, a big shout out to all the people rocking the chat room tonight. Yappy's there, Summer's there, Roger, Rob, hello, Naj, hello. Nori Love is there. Meow, Love is here, Linda Lyons, K-Girl, Karen Nelson, Joe's here, JC, Iowa Girl, Somebody 52, I'm just going to stick with that. David Cook, Croman, and the amazing, famous, beautiful, and rich Tina is here. So we're back. So of course I have 6 million questions. Where do you want to start? I have so many questions.
Let me make a quick comment first, because those of you listeners that joined us after the break, you really missed a very good part. And that was the explanation of that one man that cured a whole insane asylum full of criminally insane inmates and didn't even consult them or even talk to them. This is the healing of the best kind, and we're going to hear the rest of the story here. Right, Sheri?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll try to fill in the gaps for sure.
Yeah, we were talking before also that Hugh Land that actually did that he also learned from someone.
Yes.
And this is the really good part, because this healing method was about to be lost almost, because nobody was doing it much. And then now it is out front again and being practiced even by you, Sheri. You are doing this also.
I am. Yes. So her name, beautiful Kahuna, Morna Simeona. She was born in 1913 and expired 1992. She left her human body. She practiced the ancient practice of HoOponopono. And so the way that it used to be practiced was by gathering family members or extended family members to clear. That's the best way to say that, to clear and to heal issues with usually one particular person. And so it's the process of prayer, discussion, a confession, repentance, and then there has to be a mutual restitution, otherwise it is not done. And then the forgiveness at the end. And then, of course, gratitude in the clearing, which is the thank you at the very end. And so this was done in person with groups. But it was Morna who extended that practice and thought, this doesn't need to be done in person. This can actually extend far beyond just the ancient practice of healing families or healing one particular person in a family unit. This can extend far beyond our wildest dreams to the entire consciousness. And so she taught Dr. Len, and Dr. Len is who amplified that practice, of course, and then brought it to the foreground in the Western world by that beautiful story that you talk about, where he really miraculously changed an entire hospital of patients.
Wow.
So the practice is beautiful, and that's all about connecting with your own consciousness, but bringing yourself back to zero.
So when you say back to zero, what does that mean?
The zero state is our God state. It's before the knowing. So the knowing is actually the filter. That's how we view the world. We know this. But the zero state, it goes far beyond that. It's before the inspiration. It's our divine self. And I love you immediately does that.
Yeah.
So the I love you instantly connects us to that divinity. And that's actually what brought me to the practice above everything else, was hearing that, because I always believed in my deepest knowing, and I had not heard anyone say it before, but I always believed myself that love was the true alchemy.
Yes.
That love is the only thing that has the power of transmutation. And I always thought, there's no such thing as the sorcerer's stone. It's love. Love transmutes everything, but it's a love that transcends emotion. This is a love that's the universal love. It's the God love, the divine love. If you say, I love you, and you're saying it from a pure state, then of course it transforms everything.
Even a mental institution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even a mental institution. So the transmutation and that transformation through the I love you is what brings you back to zero.
I love that. Beautiful.
And Sheri, I think you touched on it just a little bit in the middle of a sentence, and many of us may have missed it. But you said that Hugh Len, that was actually doing this thing at the insane asylum, you said something to the effect of that he knew that it was all one, and he created the people in it because there is nothing outside of him.
Absolutely. And that's what he said. He was only healing in himself, the part of him that created them.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's recognizing that there is only one. But he also has said that zero is what makes us all family. And then we are free. And that's the only true freedom, is that zero state.
That's
so there's
true.
no such thing of freedom outside of that. And so we're constantly cleaning that and clearing that database so that the filter becomes clearer and clearer and clearer.
So some people may have a hard time, or it might be a big leap for them to imagine that they created the insane asylum and everybody in there. Is there a way to explain that differently? So, it's more spoonful, like it's easier to swallow. Like if we're a projector, right? And what we're projecting is what we're choosing to project, then we're responsible for that. So that might be a little bit of a metaphor for it. Is there any other way that you can think of that makes it more bite size?
Yeah, maybe I'm hoping
everything that is in our experience, everything that's in our experience, our reality, is what we are projecting through our own filter.
Right.
So I like how he explains the different states of being. He considers zero state being creation. That's a silent state. There's nothing happening in zero. And then there's the inspirational state of being. And that's almost like an echo. And it comes from the infinite source. It's a divine voice of inspiration. And then there's the state of memory, which is what we're usually in the human experience. And that's where we get information and data. But it's like putting on dirty eyeglasses. You're seeing everything through that. And so the more we clean it and dip into that state of zero, we're wiping off the glasses a little bit more each time so that we can return to that zero state, the void. And out of the void is what births creation, as we all know, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Just like what we're creating
I hope
now.
I explained that well. Did that
No,
make sense?
it was beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it was much better with 3 teaspoons and the big ladle. And I tell you, this was what he did and what he explained there by basically saying that there is nothing outside of us. Totally, here we go again with my nuts and bolts, goes along with quantum mechanics. Because they're also saying there is nothing out there except for what you create from your mind as an image of the holographic existence that you are creating.
Right. And if you're in a zero state, it clears it.
Yeah.
And everything becomes love. Because
and
love
that
is the only thing that can take you home again.
Yeah, and that love is then transferred into the holographic existence, so it helps everything in that existence.
Absolutely.
Okay. I was hoping I was right on that one. Yeah. Gosh.
What about, people would probably think, well, why can't we just heal the world with this? Is there Can we?
Yeah.
What about the people that don't want to be healed? Because, so Hugh Lin healed everybody.
So what part of us is resistant that they're showing up?
That was so good.
Yeah.
That was so good.
Right.
That's really good. That is so good.
Yeah, the part of us that doesn't want to be healed, that is coming from the brain, maybe not from the mind.
Right. And usually resistance to healing is not the power, or that it's the connection with self. Because if I've been portraying this version of myself for this long, who the heck am I? And that's scary.
Yeah.
For a lot of people to start fresh again. And sometimes it is a complete overhaul. And then for others of us, like, as you see, it wasn't a complete overhaul for me because I was still in my private life very much who I am. it was in my profession that I wasn't.
Yeah.
Right, right. So if we imagined that, I mean, because somebody said, please cure we the people in the chat room. So, if we thought about healing, the government, and maybe there are people in the government, that don't want to change.
Mm-hmm. What part of you does not want to change?
Exactly. It always comes back to you.
It will always, because there is no one outside of you.
Wow.
Yeah. That is good.
Yeah, I gotta put my socks back on. That just knocked my socks off.
That's a hard pill to swallow, right?
No, it's so good though. It is what it is. My God, it is.
Let me run something by you here, Sheri. Let's ramp this up to cover the whole world. You said that Hugh Len, he took all the files of the people that was there at the asylum, and he looked at the file. Let's do the same thing. What if we look at this ball of mud called Earth, this blue ball, and we are healing ourselves, and we are doing what we need to do to heal ourselves, so we heal also the projection of what we see. Could we do that on a global scale?
Absolutely. And that's what his hope was. But unfortunately, the delivery was a little skewed through ego, so it wasn't received as well as I think he was hoping. And so there are, people practicing HoOponopono out there that are pure stated, they're open-hearted, and we do dip into that zero state, and we do constantly clean that shows up for us, and we are 100% responsible always. But unfortunately, we got to keep doing it. And that's what he said. Are we ever done? And he said, if we were done, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't even be in human form.
So
of course not.
As a practitioner, I'm just wondering how sessions go for you. I mean, do they go as easy as it went with me when you said that? I mean, I have a lot of history, and I have a lot of healing under my belt. But if you get somebody who can't really wrap their arms around this concept yet, and you say to them, okay, what part of you is, resistant to healing?
Well, I don't do that. First of all, I heal the part of me that had them show up.
I see.
And the whole idea of the HoOponopono practice is not to sell the practice. If someone comes to me and they say, I want to learn this, then absolutely I will share the practice. But that's the way that goes, because when they show up for me, I'm healing the part of me that caused them to show up.
Right.
But my goal always, always, always with my clients is to help them remember who they are.
Yes.
And so
divinity.
By doing that, exactly. And so we have to do that by helping them process the things that are false about them. And so that's what I bring to light. And because I can hear the voice in their head, and it's not their voice. And I can feel the trauma that they have stored in the body still that's causing them to react from a place of trauma instead of that place of divine zero.
Right.
And so we talk about those things, and that's how I conduct my sessions with my clients. But the HoOponopono happens within me.
Wow. This is just so powerful and amazing. And so when I learned about this, I just, I got like the Reader's Digest version. Like, here's HoOponopono, and you say these words, and it's good for this. And it stuck with me, because on some level, even though I didn't know why it was working or what those words really meant, it did change me. Exactly. I felt it.
Yeah.
I felt it. So it's I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And that's not the right order. Is the order important?
And so no. And so and I love this also about Dr. Len. He says, throw out everything you know. Okay? It doesn't matter. Just say it. And even if you only remember one part of it, right? So the I love you, that's the alchemy, right?
Yes.
When you say I love you,
Yeah.
it connects you to divinity. I'm sorry is the repentance for that showing up. Please forgive me is the asking for forgiveness for that. And then the transmutation happens. And it's once that happens, you say, thank you. And so every time you do that, you're lightening your load. And there's so much more to the practice.
I'm sure.
There's certain fruits that you can eat that actually help clear the consciousness.
Wow.
And it's just such a beautiful practice. But I mean, this is so easy, but you have to feel it. You have to be in that pure heart state. And when you say, I love you, feel it.
Yeah.
Not think it. You can't be thinking it. And then you can't be like, okay, let's wait for the results.
Right.
You have to be in a perfect state of trust. You have to be in a perfect state of trust. So I'm not waiting to say like, whoa, did that work?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to know it. You have to know it.
So the first couple of times I used it, I was like, oh, that felt better. But you know what really, really pushed me into being a believer, Sheri, was that I did it to my dog. I stepped on her paw, or I did something that totally, I love my dog, right? So, and I said that to her, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the way that she looked at me made me realize she really got it. And that was what pushed me over the line. Yeah.
Ooh,
and kids and animals vibrate so high.
Yes.
And as a healer, when you're in your divine state, your dog is probably more drawn to you when you're doing work, when you're doing healing. And so it's beautiful. They understand. We're the ones that are screwed up with the dirty eyeglasses on.
That's right. That's right. We have a question in the chat room. David Cook said, Sheri, do you believe it's the words or the vibration of the tone in which we say the words that helps the most?
I believe it's the vibration.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, me too.
And you can prove this by reading Dr. Emoto's work.
Yes.
I mean, just the thinking, I love you, changes your own vibration, and it creates a frequency wave that radiates out from your body.
Right. And Dr. Emoto, for anybody who's not familiar with his work, he's the doctor who took pictures of the frozen water crystals that received the vibration of words. So you could see the coherence of the crystals with the words, I love you. And then you could see the incoherence of the crystals when they, the word was hate, or discrimination or whatever.
But then also proved it with just the feel. Instead of actually saying it, he did it with just the feel. So feeling, I love you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you don't ever have to even say it out loud. You can be looking at the person who cut you off in the line at the grocery store and just be feeling that I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Right. And if there's any resistance for doing that, because, people may be short-tempered or dealing with whatever's going on, it's not necessarily for the other. It's not for the other person, right? It's for us.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes us feel better because the other person.
Are you waiting for the results? Maybe, and you caused resistance in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Amazing. So can you tell me, this is a healer to healer question. What does your work look like? What does your practice look like? How do people work with you? If I wanted to work with you, do I work with you for X amount of weeks, or is it a session by session?
I never recommend anything. They come to see me and I said, God, I hope you don't ever have to see me again.
Aw, really?
My hope is always that it takes just one session for them to remember who the heck they are.
That's awesome.
I really hope that, really beyond all my knowing, I always hope that's all it takes. And so I have people that love breath work. So they come to me, often to do that practice. But normally it only takes the one counseling session, and then they move on to other practices to up level. But yeah,
Fabulous.
I never make that recommendation. Come weekly. I mean, that's like how therapists work, right? Their pockets get fatter, but their clients aren't getting well.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it was like coaching, because coaching does work on, multiple session basis, but it's more until they get the education. Well, I mean, the foundation of my coaching is law of attraction. So until they get the foundation of law of attraction, it is multiple sessions. So
right. Well, coaching is very different than like therapy. So coaching, you're giving them something more every time, and it's how I teach meditation. Every class builds on itself.
Yes.
So we are constantly leveling up. So that is different. And they're not coming and talking about the same thing every time.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful life you must have.
Yeah.
I am very blessed. I'm so full of gratitude.
I see we have 2 minutes left of the show, so
no, I don't want it to end.
I know.
All right.
But tell the people how they can get a hold of you and what you can do.
So I am on Facebook under Sheri Magdaleno. I am on Instagram as Divinity, DIVINITY .me. And that is also my website address, divinityin.me. And so I can be reached on any of those forums.
Beautiful.
All right.
It was such an honor to meet you, Sheri Magdaleno.
Likewise. Thank you.
And I want to connect with you on Facebook, and I'm just so grateful for the truth, for the truth and the light that you shared with us tonight. Just my whole life has been made better because of this past hour. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, wow.
This was wonderful. And it proves again, and just another indication that everything starts in the mind.
Mm-hmm. Everything actually starts in the chat room. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. It was so good seeing you again this week. We'll be back next week with one of your favorites. And we'll tell you about him soon. But we got rave reviews about this gentleman. So come back next week and see us. Oh, Sheri, what's your website again, please?
It's divinityin.me. So divinity.me.
All right. Thank you for being with us, Sheri.
You've been listening to Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
Hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. Every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The balance of power is shifting to a new paradigm. Will you be ready? For more information on Broadcast Team Alpha, as well as the hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nost, please visit their website at broadcastteamalpha.com. Until next week, remember to keep those minds open while always exploring the endless quantum possibilities.
Broadcast Team Alpha. Over and out.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.